the uncomfortable part of this, we know that the sport continues to march on, that there will be games. There will be games on Sunday and Saturday. And so we have to talk about the football aspect of it, Mike. And I thought about this last night. And honestly, I don't envy the league in this situation. I can't think of a good solution. Cincinnati on the field, Bengals, Bills. That game has playoff implications, not just for these two teams, but the Ravens are involved, the Patriots, the Dolphins, the Steelers. Everybody's looking at, what happens with the Bills and Bengals, Bills and Patriots. The Chiefs are paying attention. What do you do? This game will not be resumed this week. So what's the best way to handle this from a league perspective, Mike?
I think there's two possibilities. One would be to just cancel the game and go forward with the Bills and the Bengals playing 16, everyone else playing 17. You determine your seeding based upon winning percentages. The league was prepared to do that with the pandemic 2 years ago when there was an assumption that multiple games would be lost to the COVID outbreak, and we'd have to compare win percentages to determine the playoff trees. So they've at least crossed that bridge mentally within the league office. The other thing to do, and I don't know how practical this is, but they could do what happened back in 2001 after 9/11 when Week 2 was simply wiped out and tacked on to the very end of the regular season schedule. It became Week 18. All the games to be played Week 2 were played in what became Week 18. So you would play Bills-Bengals this weekend as the only game to be played. Week 18 would play out during what is now Wild Card weekend. Everything pushes back, and you just remove the 2-week lag between the conference championships and the Super Bowl. I don't know how practical that is, but if there's a commitment to get the game played, that's the only way to do it. Now, that said, guys, will the Bills and Bengals be ready to play any game this weekend? That's the separate issue. And will the Chiefs and Raiders be ready to play on Saturday, or the Jaguars or Titans? This is a collective NFL trauma that I don't think we appreciate or even understand the depths of it. It's going to take another day or two or longer to even know whether or not guys are going to be in the right mindset to play football, even if they don't play for the Bills or Bengals.
That's a great point.
If I can speak to that point, I was just with LaDainian Tomlinson a few minutes ago, and he told me if he were actually playing, he doesn't think he would be ready to play a game this weekend. His mind just isn't there. So I'm sure as a former player, he speaks for a lot of players in that sense that their focus is not on football right now. And here's the other thing, we talk about the mental health of the players in terms of dealing with this and whatnot. Think about all the loved ones you have to deal with who are worried about you now going out on that field this weekend and playing again, and how you have to put them at ease that it's going to be okay. There's a lot involved here. So like when LaDainian or someone else says to me, I just don't think I can be ready to play a game this weekend, that's real. And that's something that the NFL has to deal with as well.
It's a great point about, 2001 and what the league did in that situation, 9/11, obviously not just a league-wide and a sports trauma, but that's a worldwide trauma, particularly in the United States. But it happened in September. So they were able to think, okay, this is how it will affect the Super Bowl. We're in September. The Super Bowl is going to be in February. So we can think ahead. Now you're in January making a decision that will affect the Super Bowl that's just next month. Is that enough time? I wonder if they look at it and say, yeah, it's a great plan, but if we back this thing up, how does that affect everything else that we have in place? I don't know. As I said, I don't really have a great answer for this. Mike, I think maybe the best way to go is I like your plan, and you said the league was already prepared to do this. Maybe it is the winning percentages. Because you can't tell the Bengals and Bills, hey, go back out there and play the game. Forget about everything that happened. They'll never forget that. So you probably have to just move on from this game. And fortunately for the league, you have two good teams. You didn't have one team that's very, very good and the other team that is just scratching and clawing just to make the playoffs. They're two good teams. They're going to make the playoffs. They're already in the playoffs. So now I guess that makes the decision a little bit easier, Mike?
I agree with you. Last night, Jeff Miller, the league's chief PR executive, said that decisions will be made, discussions will be had at the appropriate time. The reality is that time is passing in a way that will make the decisions for the league. It just gets to the point where it's not practical to play the Bills and Bengals this week, and the league has already announced they won't play this week. Well, if they don't play this week, when are they going to play? The Bills are due to play the Patriots on Sunday, and the Bengals are due to host the Ravens. So I just think that game isn't going to happen. The only way that game happens is if they would push everything back. I can't think of any other solution, and all of that presumes that any NFL player will be ready to go on Saturday when the Chiefs and the Raiders are supposed to play. And Jim makes an excellent point. You know, we've been talking so much about Tua Tagovailoa in recent weeks and how there's got to be tension and real discussion in his family as to what his future should be. Every guy that plays now is going to be dealing with those conversations because the terror that we saw resulting from what happened to Damar Hamlin is now something that we see can happen to any player at any time, and it's just something that, because it was unprecedented, you really don't think about it. Well, now it's something for people to think about and worry about. It's a lot to process in 4 days.
And what do we always say, too? Video matters. This is an incident that took place in prime time in a game that everyone was waiting on. If this had happened on a Sunday, 10 a.m. game, West Coast time or whatever, it might be a little different because not the whole world isn't watching at that point. It's a regional game, that sort of thing. This was right in everyone's consciousness, right in their face and that sort of thing. So it hits even harder from that standpoint in terms of all of these emotions that everyone is dealing with at this point. So I'm with Mike. I don't see how you play this game again. And I think in a best case scenario, you do push everything back a week or eliminate that 2-week period in the Super Bowl. And the reality is here, Mike, to Mike's, you're never going to make everyone happy no matter what you decide. So simply do what's right and do what's best. And you live with the consequences. That's the way I look at it at this point, because someone is always going to complain. Someone is always going to believe they got the short end of the stick or whatever. Just do what's right. Period.
Yeah. I was going to say secondary point is, hey, what does the league do? But the primary point, and you guys have done a great job, a very eloquent job of really stating the issues. What happens with Damar Hamlin? Everybody is praying and hoping that he gets better and that his family is supported as they try to support him in this very scary moment for his family and for the sports family. Really, like any sports fan. I don't care who you are, who your primary team is, you're looking at Damar Hamlin and you want him to pull through this because that's all that really matters right now. Mike Florio, appreciate you. Check him out. Check him out on Football Night in America, ProFootballTalk.com, Pro Football Talk Live. You do a wonderful job of dealing with my brother Chris Sims a few times a week.
It's not easy.
We appreciate you, man. I know it's not. I know
Thanks,
it's not.
guys.
Good to see you.
Thanks for having me, guys. Have a great day.
Hey, thank you for watching Brother from Another. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, go ahead and do that now. Don't forget you can catch us 3 to 4 weekdays on PeacockTV.com and on Sirius XM Channel 85.